Good afternoon, everybody. This is a live extreme weather briefing, and we have a lot to talk about today. The tropics are definitely heating up out in the open Atlantic out there. This disturbance is expected to become a tropical depression in the coming days, and it is tracking in the direction of the Greater Antilles as well. That's definitely a concern. But for the southeastern U.S., it is heading in that general direction toward the Gulf of Mexico, maybe the southeastern U.S. Definitely something to watch. This tropical cyclone has a long way to go, traveling all over the mountainous terrain here of the Greater Antilles, including Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Cuba as well. But you can certainly see this convective flare up here with this tropical system. Definitely is looking just a little bit more favorable and robust. And there is also a threat of an isolated tornado today around the Chicagoland area. There you can see that 5% area up there as well by the Storm Prediction Center. And this hurricane season, we are going to have a waterproofed Dominator 4 as well. And I'm also very excited to announce that we are going to be packed with these tap water filters. These are from Sawyer. You can check out information on these at Sawyer.com. But our plan is to bring all these out to the hurricane zones, and you can actually hook these directly up to your faucet, and they have a pore size of no larger than 0.1 micron, so they filter out nearly 100% of bacteria and protozoa from that water. But I'm going to be bringing all these water filters down to chase hurricanes this year and help out with water needs before, during, and after the storm. So I'm very excited about this. And these are very easy to use. You just hook it right up to your tap water faucet, and then you can start churning out water, clean drinking water, up to 500 gallons a day with these tap water filters. And so I know that after the recent Hurricane Laura here, there were definitely some water issues after that storm as well. That storm just ravaged the Lake Charles, Louisiana area. And if I had these water filters from Sawyer, we could have really helped out with the drinking water situation there with those victims recovering after that substantial storm. But I'm definitely excited to be partnering with Sawyer to deliver clean drinking water to storm victims during this active hurricane season expected ahead. And it does look like this storm could impact the United States way out, but it's just something to watch mainly right now. We'll keep an eye out. It still has to go all the way across the Greater Antilles, that mountainous terrain across the Antilles. But definitely that Bermuda High is quite substantial. So this system is going to be tracking along the southern periphery of that Bermuda High. And that Bermuda High extends pretty close to the southeastern U.S. as well, and the Gulf of Mexico. That extension off to the west is going to cause a lot of these storms, I think, rather than recurve to potentially head into the Gulf of Mexico and cause major problems. So these are the hurricane model intensity forecasts. This is from tropicaltidbits.com, and at least the good news is that a majority of these models do hold this near or below tropical storm strength, and that's because of the land interaction. There is quite a bit of dry air as well in place across the Atlantic. We just recently are starting to close out of an unfavorable period with the Madden-Julian oscillation, with general sinking air across the Atlantic basin, and that has acted to suppress tropical cyclone development so far. But it does look like that's going to change as we move forward. Definitely looks like a favorable phase in the Madden-Julian oscillation is about to migrate over the Atlantic basin, just starting to right now. That's why we're seeing this uptick in tropical cyclone frequency. But a concerning thing that I'm seeing now is that lone model, the SHIP model, which is definitely used to assess the probability of rapid intensification for these tropical storms, tropical cyclones. It shows intensification into a hurricane and even a Category 2 hurricane at that. So as is usually the case as we're approaching the peak season here, definitely want to keep an eye out and monitor the tropics here. I'm going to continue to do these live briefings and update you on this situation, of course. This is the latest GFS ensemble, which still shows that track of the system toward Florida, maybe toward the Gulf. The latest GFS ensembles, at least the 6Z models, the 12Z have recently become available. Take this directly over Puerto Rico, interacting with Hispaniola as well, just to the north of that. But anywhere from the Bahamas, Florida, Gulf of Mexico, Cuba, Greater Antilles. Keep an eye on this storm system. Even though right now it is located well to the east of the Lesser Antilles, even the northern Lesser Antilles, keep a very close eye on this. And it could easily become Fred here in the next day or two as well. But definitely concerning to see these spaghetti plots showing the motion of this tropical cyclone toward the Gulf of Mexico. But we'll just have to keep monitoring this as it's slowly crawling across the tropical Atlantic. These are the hurricane models showing a track of this system into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, which of course would open the door for further intensification. Looking at the long-range models, there's a big-time subtropical anticyclone that's going to dominate a large portion of the central and eastern United States. So if this system does track into the Gulf, it's likely going to be met with favorable conditions for rapid intensification even more. So definitely the tropics are coming to life. That is for sure. But right now, that lead system definitely has the greatest potential to develop, and it does look like it is going to become a tropical depression in the next day or so. So it's very possible that in the next week or two, we could be out there near the Gulf Coast, maybe the southeastern U.S., chasing down these tropical cyclones. And as I mentioned, we are going to be armed with these Sawyer tap water filters to help out with the drinking water needs before, during, and after the storm. You can just connect these up to your faucet. I've got one right here on display. Excited to try this out, even on my tap water. And even situations like down in Edgewater, Colorado, where there is an E. coli outbreak in the drinking water down there, these would be an incredible tool for that as well, to filter out that bad E. coli and get clean drinking water. Before these hurricanes, this is the perfect product here. Drinking water is a lot of times ravaged during these hurricanes, not only from the storm surge, the flooding, the power going out, just complete failure for days, if not weeks. Drinking water is definitely one of the most valuable resources out there during these hurricanes. So I'm excited to put those to use. Now I want to talk about the severe weather threat in northern Illinois, and there's also a severe weather threat in eastern North Dakota today. You can see this weak surface low over southwestern Wisconsin today. Instability streaming in from the southwest. There is kind of a narrow window for a tornado threat across the Chicago area. You've got this extreme instability streaming from southwest to northeast through the Mississippi River Valley. It's definitely about to start destabilizing in the Chicago area. There was a morning MCS, some showers and thunderstorms throughout the area this morning, Chicago into southeastern Wisconsin. And it looks like a lot of that rain-cooled air is going to keep the instability maybe just to the south of the Wisconsin border. But here in a couple of hours, over the next 2 hours, expecting a band of supercell storms to develop from northern Illinois into extreme southeastern Wisconsin, likely just to the south of the Milwaukee area. And then that line is going to build down to the south into northern Illinois. And look at those southerly winds. Anytime you get southeasterly movers with those two southerly winds and a southerly low-level jet and a surface low up in Wisconsin there, you're probably going to have a tornado threat. And look at that band of supercell storms sagging off to the south into the Chicago area over the next 4 to 6 hours, 2 to 6 hours really. 3 p.m., those storms are going to initiate. There even is a mesoscale discussion right now for that zone, and that includes the threat of tornadoes. There were a couple of tornadoes yesterday, too, across northwestern Iowa. That third mode, really the backup mode that we were discussing, it didn't end up being central northern Wisconsin. It wasn't southeastern Kansas into Missouri. It ended up being those supercell storms that moved from southwestern Minnesota into northwestern Iowa. Usually once a storm system is a tornado producer, that characteristic is a lot of times conserved as that system migrates from west to east across the U.S. So I wouldn't be surprised if these northwest to southeast movers in northern Illinois are also tornado producers. And look at that, as you get towards 0Z by about 7 p.m., that wind shear increases even more to 0 to 1 kilometer SRH of about 2 to 300 there in northern Illinois, and that includes the Chicago area. Definitely a threat of those supercell storms. You're looking at the RAP model here right now, and we're going to break down all of these models. We're also going to look at the surface map. I should have flown into Chicago, of course, this morning, but I have my varsity tutors class tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central, where we're going to be talking about wild summer weather like this like these tropical cyclones, wildfires, monsoon in the southwestern U.S. So I look forward to that class tomorrow, and I'm going to be breaking down the severe weather threat today through live briefings here. There we are. We are back. Looks like my internet just went down. Came back up again. That's always concerning. I've got a class coming up here, but we are back, dominating. And I wanted to zoom in here and show you the evolution of the wind shear along this band of supercell storms that is forecast to develop over the next couple of hours. Look at it over northern Illinois, sliding into the Chicagoland area by about 4, 5, 6 p.m. there and developing along that Wisconsin-Illinois border. This is the latest wrap, actually the newest one now. That's at 20Z. It shows those storms developing near the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Weak surface low just off to its north, ahead of a surface or ahead of a short wave as well. And look at how that low-level shear ramps up as we go through about 7 p.m. Central Time there across northern Illinois, northeastern Illinois, northwestern Indiana. 200 to 300 0 to 1 kilometer shear in that zone. So that's pretty substantial out there. And I wanted to break down the HRRR model, of course, as well. I want to show you the radar data here across northern Illinois just to see how the destabilization process is coming. There is a little bit of rain still right now in the Chicago area, and I wonder if that rainfall is going to help to curtail the severe weather threat along the immediate shoreline. Let me show you the radar here. Maybe I can pull it up. My computer's having trouble keeping up with me these days. Got some data hogs running on this computer. So here is the radar in the Chicago area showing that precipitation right now. Still some showers, and you're at 1 p.m. In the afternoon here right now. So that could be the saving grace, at least along that immediate shoreline, is this rainfall that's happening so far this morning. It probably is going to be the savior for the Milwaukee area, and I do expect these supercells to develop in a band across northern Illinois, maybe into far southeastern Wisconsin as well. And then that band is just going to sag slowly off to the southeast, and eventually by about 21 to 0Z, that low-level wind shear really ramps up down in the Chicago area, northeastern Illinois, ramps up above about 200 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. But it is possible that some of this morning and now early afternoon precipitation here across southeastern Wisconsin and along the immediate shoreline in Chicago could definitely be kind of the saving grace and maybe preventing that instability from coming in from the southwest. But one thing I've learned by following these late season Midwest severe weather setups is that stable air will usually recover and destabilize a lot faster than many of the forecast models will show. And I think that rapid destabilization is about to be underway from southwest to northeast as this band of showers and thunderstorms is sliding through the northern Chicago area. And this instability is building out ahead of this convective line that is slowly starting to mature from south of Janesville into northwestern Illinois. And that could be the developing mode of supercells that's going to slide off to the southeast through northern Illinois and eventually impact the Chicago area between about 4, 6, 7 p.m. This evening. And I do plan on going live as well as this severe weather threat evolves through the afternoon. So now let's go back to the models. I want to break down the HRRR, compare it a little bit to the WRAP model as well, the convective evolution here. I want to look at some of these new updates of the HRRR and see how it's picking up on this morning precipitation and see if it is able to rapidly destabilize this environment here. Hopefully I'm still live. You never know. I can hear the dingers coming in there. Thank you guys so much for your support, especially Facebook supporters, for making these live briefings possible, for making live storm chasing possible as well. So let's go up to the northern Illinois region here of the HRRR and see how that morning convection is progressing. This is at 18Z, 1 p.m. right about now. Pretty good initialization here by the HRRR. If anything, it's underdoing the band of convection that is going to be our mode of severe weather that's going to sag off to the southeast. But let's just step forward here, hour by hour, with the HRRR. That's at 19Z. This is at 3 p.m. Central Time. Still showing this band of supercells trying to organize here near Chicago, back along the Wisconsin, Illinois border, and then out toward the Rockford area as well. And this is going to be the mode of potential tornado producers there. It's west-southwest to east-north oriented band, and then possibly along the outflow boundary too, from that complex that is starting to finally start to approach southern Lake Michigan and move out. But rapid destabilization should happen from southwest to northeast here. This is at 21Z, showing that belt of supercell storms slowly sagging into northern Illinois and intensifying too as you get toward about 5 p.m. as these are getting closer to the north side of Chicago. Likely going to have some tornado warnings out here across northern Chicago, northern county or two up there from Chicago and including off to the west. Look at these supercell storms really start to ramp up, and you may remember from the hourly forecast of the updating wrap that low-level shear is supposed to increase out ahead of those storms, especially as you get closer to about 20 to 0Z as well. Looks like about 6-7 p.m. Probably some flash flooding as well. See the training, the nature of these storms moving right over to the same path one after another. Probably going to see some urban flooding as well in the Chicago area as that back builds off to the west. Definitely a supercellular mode. And that low-level jet is only going to increase. Look at that, west-southwesterly low-level jet increasing to about 40 knots just on the south side of those storms, fueling these supercell storms as they slide off to the east-southeast. So definitely a 5% tornado probability, certainly justified here in this narrow window right across northeastern Illinois. Fascinating setup with this complex of storms, trying to slow down the rate of destabilization across northern Illinois as it slides over southern Lake Michigan, and the rapid destabilization heading in from southwest to northeast. Thanks, everybody. Oh, what a mess. I'm going to get this thing centered. There's the forecast model, 0 to 1 kilometer EHIs associated with that low-level jet, west-southwesterly low-level jet at about 30 to 40 knots. There you can see that low-level jet streaming into the southern edge of those storms. Let me show you what I was looking at just a little bit ago, showing the convective evolution of these storms. This is at 0Z. And so these develop at about 3 to 4 p.m. up here, far northern Illinois, right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. That complex of storms that's in the area this morning migrates out over Lake Michigan. Here you can see the initialization of that complex, and the HRRR did a very good job resolving that complex of storms, hanging on here by 1 p.m. over northern Illinois. But rapid destabilization is going to happen from southwest to northeast. It already is happening across the western suburbs there of Colorado. And let me show you this Cape axis here, axis of instability coming in from the southwest. And there it is. There's that instability at 18Z. So far over southeastern Wisconsin, northeastern Illinois, morning showers and thunderstorms have slowed down the rate of destabilization, but you've got Capes 4,000 or 5,000 building in from southwest to northeast. We can monitor the progression of this Cape hour by hour. At 20Z, finally starts to reach those developing storms up there right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Look at that nose of instability coming right out ahead of that surface low with the approaching shortwave, reaching Chicago even here, 1,500 to 2,000 Cape by 21Z. And then that instability continues to increase with that west-southwesterly low-level jet increasing 30 to 40 knots, feeding into that belt of supercell storms across northern Illinois there. and that low-level jet only continues to increase, ramping up storm relative helicity down there between 2 to 300. But you got to wonder if there's going to be enough surface-based instability here around the Chicago area, especially with this morning complex of storms and with that nearby relatively cold body of water, Lake Michigan there. The models are definitely showing the greater instability across the western suburbs near into the south of the Rockford area. So likely the western edge of this convective line could have the greatest tornado potential, but it still could be right up in there into Chicago. One thing I've learned about these Midwestern setups is they often will destabilize a lot more rapidly than you might think. But look at this little finger here of enhanced instability, likely coincident with the increase in that low-level jet of about 40 knots. So if I were targeting it, I would target right at the nose of that little instability finger right there to the west of Chicago, to the south of Rockford. I do think that there is a chance of even a significant tornado out there across that area. Looking at the 0 to 1 kilometer shear. Decent there, about $150, maybe even a little bit greater, but you get these storms peeling off due south-southeast off of that line, and you could even get some greater instability out there. We can look at a forecast sounding here. That looks like it's a bit of a tainted sounding there. Picked it right up in the middle of the storm. Usually you could tell by this belt of enhanced upward motion. You see those red barbs there in the mid-levels of the atmosphere at 500. That shows that this is in the middle of some big-time uplift. So it's probably more of a tainted sounding, but I do think that those photographs are going to look roughly similar to that. Let's take something a little bit further south. There you can see we got rid of those red barbs, that uplift in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, showing that we likely sampled that sounding right in the center of a supercell storm. But look at all that cape going up from the surface all the way up, high up in the atmosphere. A little elevated mix layer there too, above 500 millibars. And that's a pretty favorable photograph for a tornado. And I think we're going to get more southeasterly storm motions as well as they propagate off that line, which will squeeze out even more storm relative helicity. If you get anything south of due east, you're going to be talking about more of a 300 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity environment out here. But a very nicely curved photograph there. And that's why we do have that 5% tornado threat here across northeastern Illinois. And it does look like southern Wisconsin's going to be out of it. These storms will probably initiate right along that Illinois-Wisconsin border later on today. Oh, good. Great. Well, Gary, 81 over 68, but Janesville, 72 over 72. Not you're north of that effective warm front up there. Not a lot of obs to go by yet, but they are coming in right now. Let's take a look at satellite imagery up here. Take a look and see how quickly it is destabilizing, and we'll look at that band of maturing convection out there as well. So look at all this precipitation and cloud cover in northeastern Illinois, southeastern Wisconsin. You got to wonder if that's going to be able to move out fast enough. The models are definitely hinting at reduced instability out there near the Chicago area, far southeastern Wisconsin as well. Let me bring this down a little bit so that you can see it. Look at all those gravity waves showing it. The cap isn't broken yet down in west central Illinois. Wave-like clouds. You can definitely see the short wave, though, coming through Wisconsin. You can see that band of convection trying to mature in northwestern Illinois into south central Wisconsin. It's possible that's going to be the event. Those will just keep bubbling here over the next couple of hours, and they'll eventually develop. And then you can see that nose of clearing and instability there, lifting northeast out ahead of them. I could see it being north central Illinois and a little bit west. There's likely going to be a storm or two on the western edge of this convective band that I do think will have a chance of producing a tornado or two, maybe even a significant tornado as well as it heads off to the southeast. But there's that complex of storms heading northeast out of northeastern Colorado there. See what the mesoscale discussion says. We got a new MD out here in northern Illinois. Purple box. Tornadoes threat should increase this afternoon. Watch issuance is possible. Shows that stable air there right across northeastern Illinois, but right coincident with that clear slot lifting northeast across northwestern Illinois. Axis of 2 to 3,000 Cape lifting off to the northeast. So I think somewhere near or just to the south of Rockford looks more likely. A well-defined MCV located over southern Wisconsin early this afternoon. That's that weak surface low we're discussing. In the wake of this activity, modest diurnal heating of a moist low-level air mass, but muted by persistent low-level cloud cover, should support increasing instability by late afternoon. Yeah. Basically stating everything we all know. There's our MCV, or weak surface low there over southwestern Wisconsin. But boy, that cloud cover that's hanging on is definitely going to curtail that instability by about 5 p.m. But look at the RAP. The RAP does a very good job at air mass recovery behind these MCSs, especially in the upper Midwest this time of year during the late season. And you can definitely see that instability axis trying to battle against the cloud cover there in northeastern Illinois, but you're still able to squeeze out about 2,000 to 3,000 Cape. So I like the western edge of that convective band across north central Illinois. Definitely looks like the most substantial. And of course, we do have this North Dakota set up as well. Big belt of easterlies up here, subtle surface low. North Dakota starting to destabilize. Big capping inversion out there. And it looks like capping is going to be the issue in the warm sector across eastern North Dakota. Within those southeasterlies, you get a lot of convective inhibition. That's the blue color. And then storms do develop, but in a post-frontal environment in central North Dakota to the east of Minot, there to the northeast of northeast of Bismarck, basically north-central North Dakota. But see how those surface winds are in a basically west-northwest, westerly-northwest direction? That means that those are largely post-frontal storms, but definitely the formation of a massive MCS from southern Manitoba into eastern North Dakota through this evening. Looks on tap, eventually becoming elevated above as that convective inhibition increases around it. But definitely a complicated severe weather threat. Tomorrow there is an enhanced risk across the same area on the same day as my varsity tutors class. There's the enhanced risk. Southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. Definitely more of a wind event. Possible derecho forming central southern Wisconsin. 30% hatch area for hail there issued by the storm, or for wind by the Storm Prediction Center. Definitely going to be some mega shelves out there. Probably some embedded tornadoes within that QLCS, or that massive squall line that's going to form. But we're going to keep a close eye on this tomorrow as well. And very excited about my varsity tutors class tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 3 p.m. Central. Sign up link I'll be posting again later on today. But my head will be in the clouds too. I'll be watching the severe weather. Tornado threat is about 2%. Not a big time tornado threat. Definitely looks like your classic windbag type of an event during the day tomorrow, but certainly could have embedded tornado circulations within that. And I could show you via the 3-kilometer NAM what that upper system looks like that is causing that enhanced risk. We were looking at this a couple days ago. There's our upper system for Tuesday. And this is a pretty potent upper level system. There it is. It's not as amplified as it was a couple of days ago when we were looking at this very sharp wave, but still you can see the diffluence aloft over Wisconsin. Diffluence at least above 500, not at the level of non-divergence, but you can see this lead jet streak by 18Z moving over central Wisconsin. That's going to help to fire that complex of storms. Likely derecho event there. Very progressive, fast-moving system. The main vortex is lifting up into western Ontario, but a strong belt of westerlies back off to its south. And that's going to bring in a pattern shift, this big ridge across the western U.S. That's going to ramp up monsoon conditions once again across the southwestern U.S. Get a surface high down there near the Four Corners. And the southerlies on the west side of that should help to pump that moisture back northward by the end of this week. Should certainly get an uptick in the monsoonal storms as well. So we're going to have to encounter a pretty tough decision making here over the next couple of weeks. Do we chase a hurricane in the tropics? Do we chase the monsoon? Do we chase these ridge runners with derecho potential? But that's why I love this time of year, because there are just so many things to monitor. A lot of times they are pretty dangerous things as well. Dangerous weather, but we'll keep you updated here at Team Dominator headquarters. Let's look at the evolution of this derecho tomorrow across central Wisconsin really quick using the 3-kilometer NAM. There you can see the development of it already by late morning with that lead jet streak across central Wisconsin turning into a massive windbag event. That definitely shows the complex is going to slide to the south into northern Illinois. Widespread wind happening there. So the same areas that are going to get the severe weather this afternoon are going to get a massive bow echo surging south 6, 7, 8 p.m. It's a fun time to live in the Corn Belt. I could tell you that. Maybe even a weird supercell structure there anchored over on the western side of the bow echo, which is quite unusual with these events. But look at that massive QLCS. That's what this enhanced risk is for damaging wind central southern Wisconsin into northern Illinois. Sliding off to the south. There you have it. Big windbag event. So once again, we've got the tropics that are heating up. GFS ensembles show a relatively weak tropical cyclone interacting with the land of the Greater Antilles, the mountainous terrain there as it heads toward the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And of course, we are going to be loaded up with these TAT filters from Sawyer. You can check these out at sawyer.com. If you're interested in preparing for this hurricane season, or really any storm season where fresh drinking water can be impacted, I think that this is a good addition to your severe weather safety kit, hurricane survival kit as well. And Team Dominator is going to be heading down into the hurricane zone with these TAP filters to help out with the drinking water situation before, during, and after the storm. So definitely looking forward to that. So thank you everybody for tuning in to this weather report. Again, stay tuned to those watches and warnings, especially in northern Illinois. We do have that 5% in the Chicago area, but it is quite a conditional setup too. I wouldn't be surprised if just the storm on the western edge of that convective band that evolves across northern Illinois really has that robust tornado potential. But one thing I've learned here across the upper Midwest is that the atmosphere can recover at an astounding rate. So I wouldn't be surprised to see plenty of surface-based instability lifting all the way up into Chicago in the wake of this early afternoon cloudiness, showers, and thunderstorms to develop a robust tornado threat a little bit later on in the evening, probably 6, 7, 8 p.m. there in the Chicago area. But it does look like southern Wisconsin is largely out of the woods with these the morning and into early afternoon complex of storms really helping to stabilize the atmosphere. So thank you everybody for joining me for this weather report. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Monday. Never stop chasing.